was a doctor, I was in the cardio department, and I noticed I was going for my little break outside, and I was observing patients coming out who recovered from the serious illnesses, who already through, already in clear. And I looked at them and I saw that they're different from patients who still did not recover. What I noticed that they of course they're very pale, they're very quiet. They kind of like see through, you can see through them. They're not really present forcefully at the moment. They blended with the surrounding, they just sit on the bench and they enjoy breathing in and breathing out, breathing in and breathing out, because yesterday they cannot do that. It was like chopped in. And now they can do it, so they're very happy. There's no pain, and they're enjoying this sight of the sun coming and breathing in and breathing out. And I was thinking, something happened to them. They're not the same person as the person who was sick. They're different. And my thought went to the extent that if you would model that person and became that person on your own, maybe the disease would not be needed, because maybe disease is coming to turn you into that quiet person who can enjoy just simply breathing in and breathing out. When the last time any of us enjoyed just breathing in and breathing out? Never. We need more and more and more. We need new victory at the court case, we need new car, we need new wife, we need new health, we need new this, we need a lot more, and then we will be happy. We come into that new more just to discover that we're still unhappy, we still need more. Then we go into new more, and we're unhappy there. So if we're unhappy here, here, and in the next several years, when are we going to be happy? Never. It's never end. It's a chain of greetings. It's never end. So this is the first and most important thought which Dr. Buteyko got from the observation of the dying people and the breathing pattern and the medicine, the Western medicine he was practicing. The medicine is greeting based. It's based on the idea that to cure a person you need more. You need to deliver more vitamins, more oxygen, more food, more this, more that, and the result is even more serious illness. So if you try to do opposite, you actually try non-greediness. You try to eat less, breathe less, work more, still work more, have less stress, have less of the negative emotions. You will see that you're healthy all of a sudden, contrary to the systematic beliefs. So also the second part is the thinking that hyperventilation is useful for you also is one of the reasons why people getting sick. Now, there is exemptions for that. There are instructions given in the holistic systems which been formed many, many centuries ago and treat the person as a whole, like pranayama, qigong, and tai chi, is exempt from this rule. So when they're giving instruction on deep breathing, they're giving them in a complex of other things: exercise, style of life, diet, style of thinking, philosophy. So this whole teaching is making this exempt from that rule. But any other Western teaching which is teaching you to breathe more is the reason of the disease. Now, breathing through the mouth, this is understood. Now, let's talk about breathing through the mouth a little bit in detail. Why breathing through the mouth is no good? Thoughts?
No filters like we have.
No filters, because in the nose there's hair and filters. Right, first. That's not what we're after, that's correct. We're after something else. Warming up. The air going through the nose is warmed up, and also if it's dry, it's getting more moisture, so it's not that dry we're going to the second. But there is something else we're going for.
Dry.
The shorter the airway, the more carbon dioxide is escaping.
So this difference?
It's not this difference. It's difference about like this, because it's not.
So you mean
behind there,
behind?
Right?
Behind. Okay. Yeah. That's...
It goes like this. So if you stretch it out, it's going to go like 4 inches.
Ah, you're right. You're right. Yeah,
It's also making a turn, right? 90 degrees.
So it's like 15
so this is
centimeters.
why. So elephant. How long elephant live? More than 100 years, right? percentage of carbon dioxide in the lungs, elephant breathing through a long, long pipe. The longer the airway, the bigger the percentage of carbon dioxide in your lungs. And so, the bigger the percentage of oxygen in your cells. And less in your lungs. Because of that, the device was invented, which I'm going to present on the workshop, not now, but I'm just going to show you, which is just making your airways longer, and that way it's preserving your carbon dioxide. It's a very simple device. Do not be fooled by simplicity of it. It's just extension on your airways. Because your airway is getting extended, you're getting what? More carbon dioxide saved, right? There's nothing inside. It's just a glass.
Well, I think the carbon dioxide can't escape with that mask on.
The longer the airways, remember? Because it's the same, it's going back and forth in the same airway, the more carbon dioxide you preserve.
So you just increase the distance.
Yeah, you just increase the distance, the travel, because theoretically, if you increase this to about 6 meters, you cannot breathe, because there will be nothing moving out of the end of that pipe, because that's how much air in your lungs, right? So this was precisely calculated and have a certain adjustments to make a gradual adjustments to the content of the carbon dioxide in your lungs.
But won't it also make it more difficult to breathe oxygen in? Because you're covering the hole as well.
Good question, thank you very much. Very good question.
The breathing?
Very good question. What would happen that during the exercise, while the exercise would be doing classical technique without device or with the device, you would have a shortage of breathing, feeling of shortage of breathing.
Yeah.
Okay? You would have it for about 15 minutes.
Oh, that sucks.
It's in first like maybe week it's unpleasant. After that you're getting used to it, because after that you know the benefits of it. So your absence of your shortage of breathing would not be that terrible because you know why you're doing it. Okay? But in the first 3 or 4 minutes after you start practicing either the technique, which we'll go after we discuss that. Maybe we should need a short break.
No, I'm okay.
You're
I'm
okay?
just listening
Alright.
to you, yeah.
So what would happen is that the quantity of carbon dioxide would sharply increase, and that would send the signal to the brain to breathe, and you will make a sharp, large breathing like this. That will happen. That means that you practice properly. What you do with the device, you don't need to do much because the device is doing it for you. It's still preserving carbon dioxide. If you're doing the exercise without device, what you do, you have to cut it. You have to choke it.
Cut the exhaling?
No, that inhaling, you have to cut it.
Oh, right. That's
You don't do it all of it. The body would want to do this. You instead do this and choke it. If you didn't choke it in the inhale, didn't happen. Say you were late or it was too scary or something, or your feeling of shortage of breath was too powerful, so you still did it. Then what you do, you just doing very, very slow inhale. That's it. You neutralize it. You prevented the loss of carbon dioxide. You still keep it because you did a very, very slow, long exhale. Okay. Now, next. Any questions about this? Okay. Any alcohol, tobacco, caffeine, and such products which is increasing like happiness, they also increase in breathing because they have influence on the breathing center. They increase the activity of breathing center. So many drugs do that. Many drugs do the opposite. Like tranquilizers do opposite. They put you asleep, which means your breathing is quieting down. Okay? So many herbal tranquilizers are actually good and can be used. And that's what should be first used on people with heart conditions and with heart pain. They should be quieted down. And it's used to be that way in the medicine. The first thing they used to give them is tranquilizers. And they just did fine. Now they give them the remedies which making the vessels diluted and they're killing them. In the short run, pain is gone, person feels better, and they think that they cured. But in the long run, they keep losing carbon dioxide, and they're going to die in 5-6 years using these remedies. So most of the drugs do the same. They increase the breathing. Obesity and sedimentary lifestyle is a big one. We're going to discuss it a little bit in detail, the obesity and sedimentary lifestyle. Mostly obesity. Obesity is a problem of this society now because our food rations and our portions and all our lifestyle was carved to the hard physical labor. We had all these customs formed when the humanity was in the process of getting everything through hard physical labor. You need to get somewhere, you have to get on the bicycle or walk. You need to food, you have to put it in the grass, in the ground, grow it, then collect it, then clean it. So you need a lot of labor to get these calories. Now the calories are available without no labor. Just open the fridge, go to the store, and they are yours. And this is a big problem because the lifestyle we formed is completely disconnected from the amount of physical work we do. We only move the fingers of the computer.
Yeah.
That's all we do. That's a very small muscle. They do not use much of oxygen and they don't emit much of carbon dioxide. The biggest muscles are what? Core and lower extremities. Lower extremities, huge, large muscles. Right? So if you walk or jog, that's already a big plus. You already get a lot of carbon dioxide. Now, with it doesn't concern two of you because you are more or less healthy people and I see that you watch a lot after yourselves. But I combine a list with Snezhana of the reasons why people overeat. I will just give away the list for you. You can study it at home. And it's crazy because the real amount of food people need to eat in order to be alright is probably about 10-15% of what we eat.
Wow. That's crazy.
People do not eat because they're hungry physiologically.
Emotional.
They eat of all kinds of
I
reasons.
eat for emotional reasons, don't we all?
Just go through this.
When I watch TV, I eat. I'm not hungry.
Exactly, it's right there in that list. You're not hungry, but you're eating because that's what you do when you're watching TV, right? You're munching on something.
Yeah.
So just go quickly through it because you can study it at home. We don't need to discuss it. It's pretty self-evident.
Yeah, I already know all of these.
I was just amazed myself that there's so many reasons for eating which does not have any connections to this physiological need to the body. It's crazy.
Yeah, remember in the 1970s, everyone was so skinny. In the 70s and 80s. Yeah.
It's also very strange, like I went to Italy and Greece. It's two countries with the same climate and about the same cuisine.
Yeah.
And Italians all fit and slim, and Greeks all fat and like a balls. Like more than half of the males are really seriously overweighted, like in the last stages of their obesity disease. And then I learned that in Italy you end up with a wine in the end of the meal, and in Greece you end up with a huge fat cake.
Well, also,
and they make it good. You can't even stop because it's so good. So when I went, a friend of mine gave me a word: "Do not eat that cake. You're gonna die. You will not return for weeks."
I thought Greece was known for having very healthy cuisine.
It's healthy, but they end up with very unhealthy fattening cake with margarine.
They eat a lot.
And they eat a lot. In the evening, what they do, they go to this very cheap restaurant. It's called Psaria Taverna. It's a fish restaurant. They're very cheap. And they sit there all evening and all they do, they eat and drink, and they finish with the cake and then go home and supper. Okay, sugars. You probably know about sugars. Do I need to address this?
Where are you? What are you reading?
The first page, the ventilation increases from bad for you, about the middle, after overeating.
Yeah.
Sugars, carbohydrates with high glycemic index, which is quickly absorbed in the bloodstream. Now, it's very relevant to your practice, because if you decide to go with this system and practice it, which I feel that at least one of you will, you will find out quickly that even several fruits consumed already will increase your breathing because there is a lot of sugar in it. We do not really understand how much fructose in the fruits. So whatever is sweet contains sugar. Carrot, tomato contains sugar. Be careful with it. Carrot and tomato is not releasing it fast, but for example pear and apple and grape is the fastest. Grape releasing sugar, the same like white sugar. It's not that harmful because it's natural, but your breathing would be affected. You would not be able to do like exercise for about 4, 5, 6 hours until that sugar will be consumed. Or you can go and jog and that will burn in half an hour. And you can get back to that. Okay, animal protein diets, extremely bad for their breathing. Milk, consumption of milk, food allergies, chemicals, synthetic clothing, extreme stress from cold or heat, oversleeping, especially on the back. Yeah, oversleeping, especially on the back. If you practice this system, you're not allowed to sleep on the back, period. You only can sleep on the side, or better even on the stomach. Sleeping on the back, seriously increasing your breathing. Seriously increasing through the night. Basically, if you sleep on the back in the morning, you have to start from scratch, like to never practice. But there is things to beat it up, but you cannot sleep on the back. Since I learned, and that was like more than 20 years ago, I never slept on the back ever. I can start falling asleep on the back maybe for 2-3 minutes, and then I just turn on the side. But I always sleep on the stomach.
How do you sleep on the stomach? You mean like this?
You put your head on the side.
Because you
Put your head on the side, you can put pillow under the chest to compensate for the head not being squashed. It's actually very comfortable. Negative emotions, a lot of talking, excessive sexual activity and stress. That's about it. On the other side there is opposite. There is things which is decreasing breathing, right? Non-greediness, prayer, meditation, chanting, low and medium cardio, anaerobic exercise.
What is anaerobic exercise?
Anaerobic exercise is the next big hit in fitness. It's already there. You will hear about them pretty soon because they're getting big. That's exercise which you do without no breathing. For example,
without breathing?
Without no breathing. That's the kettlebell or whatever. The weight, so you go into this weight and do this.
And you don't breathe?
And then when you finish, then you breathe. It's a very big professional athletes all doing it already.
Is this new? Is it relatively new?
10 years, 15 years. Professional athletes already doing it big time.
Not yet, because the last one I heard that high intensive exercise is 45 minutes. Fast, as you're doing.
Well, you can do the anaerobic exercise, you can do for more than probably 3-4 minutes. You're gonna be. The thing is that there is a lot of oxygen in the muscles already there. That's why you can do anaerobic exercise. What they do, they sharply increase their quantity of the carbon dioxide. This is a very big step. I did it when I did the course. I did a lot of swimming, and during swimming it's very easy to do anaerobic swimming because swimming is easing up on this feeling of shortage of breathing. You can actually swim. I probably did 7 to 12 strokes without no breathing. Then you breathe once and then again you breathe. So I did it. It's very helpful. Make a note. It's very helpful. Jogging, moderate physical labor. Like, please pay attention how I put a lot of the word moderate, because a lot of hardcore activities like your Ashtanga yoga bring a lot of stress. And stress, what? Changing breathing to the deeper. Right? So whatever you do, physical activity should not be too stressful for you at that stage where you are now. Fasting. Fasting is a big one. And again, that list I gave you with the reasons why people do not eat. Did I give you the list why reasons people eat or eat?
Where did you put fasting? What do you mean by fasting?
Remember that? We did that list together. Why people. Fasting is abstaining from food.
Yes, how? Because it's different ways. For example, in my
There is
religion,
dry fasting and fasting with juices and water.
it doesn't mean don't eat nothing 24 hours.
Dry fasting doesn't mean that you do not consume any food or water. Dry fasting I did for 2.5 days max.
No food or water?
Not food or water.
Dry. Is it good? Dry.
Dry is just...
It can stop serious inflammation. For
No
example,
water.
if you have some inflammation of anything, like inflammation of the throat, lung inflammation, it can stop it right there. 2 days of dry fasting can stop it. But it's dangerous. You can do it only if you're relatively healthy. If
So
you have
dry
any
fasting
health
means
problems,
no-
you should reconsider because it's a serious stress on the body. Dry fasting.
How did you feel after? Hungry?
It's all depends how you practice it. If you practice it properly, after the first couple times, you're getting used to it and body getting used to it, and it feels alright. It feels actually very good. It feels clean.
Yeah, a week, no?
Huh?
Week?
The biggest amount of fasting I did 14 days.
How many days?
14.
You had water there, right?
I had water.
That's it? No
The
calories?
problem with this prolonged fasting is that after the 12 days, you're losing the desire to come back. You're okay with expiring.
Shit.
Yeah.
For me, it was more than 25 days.
What?
It was not chosen by me. It was not chosen by me. This is how I was introduced to the fasting. I had lungs infection.
Oh,
pneumonia,
you had no choice.
And I had allergy on medication. Then I started to have allergy on water.
That's crazy.
So first 3 or 4 days dry fasting, nothing, and then somebody decided to bring me. I was put on the stroller, or stretcher, and I was brought to blind massage therapist. She made me to drink. I was scared. She says, no, get your allergy, totally fine. And she made me to drink my own urine. That's what I lived on for the next 25 days. After 2 days, it tastes like nothing. It doesn't smell.
So you didn't eat anything?
I didn't eat anything. I didn't even drink water. I lived on my own urine for 25 days. After that, I started to introduce water.
Oh my goodness. When you were...
I was 19 at that time. I was 19.
Need a better mistake.
So, you got better? You're not allergic to anything anymore?
Fine. I didn't even lose much of weight. I didn't lose too much of my muscles, which I was totally surprised.
Yeah.
But the temperature went down, everything went down. I completely restored. Even the doctors were telling me, sorry kid, you're supposed to start taking the measurements,
Yeah.
for the coughing.
Wow. That's
Mm. But you know what, to tell you the truth, I know how good fasting is. But since then, I'm scared to go into long fasting. I don't know why.
Well,
It's
you
still
have
probably
an
somewhere-
association in your mind though.
I really don't know. I really don't know. And if, you know what, now especially when I'm on this type of food, I don't think about fasting much because sometimes for a few days I can live just, walking outside, picking this grass, picking that grass, picking something from the tree. And my energy level does not decrease, as you can see. Even with me being in pain after breathing that rapidly, still the energy level is...
Alright. Okay, so we
I have a question from you.
Yeah, right.
Wearing corsets and corsets.
Yeah, we're gonna discuss it right now. If you go into the pet store, they have jackets for the dogs to relieve stress.
Yes.
Have you ever seen what it is?
No.
It's just a tight vest
Yes.
which compress the chest. Because when the chest is compressed, the breathing is going where? To the belly. You cannot breathe through the chest because it's compressed. So that's what you do. If you take this seriously, I will show you practically how to do it, but that must be done for about 4 or 5 weeks.
Oh, every day?
For the night only, for the sleeping. The problem is that when you sleep, your breathing is sharply increasing.
Increasing?
Yeah.
Oh.
And also, the second problem is that in the morning, it's a natural increase of the breathing because the meridian of lungs is active in the morning about 6 o'clock. And you need to calm it down. When you practice it, you need to, that period at 6 o'clock, you need to calm it down. So either you get up and practice, and then you can maybe sleep a little bit more, or you wear the corset or bandage, and then it will stop it automatically because it will compress your chest and will not allow it to happen.
So you mean it's different from the bra for the ladies? Or is similar?
It's a corset. Corset is something which is holding your posture. It's squeezing you tight. It's holding all the chest that it cannot open, because how the breathing happening, the lungs cannot breathe by themselves. The lungs are very soft tissue, and if you take them in open, they collapse right away. The lungs have the vacuum between the lungs and the chest, and chest is breathing the lungs. There's muscles between the ribs, which can expand the chest, open it, and contract the chest. So these muscles breathing the lungs. The lungs cannot breathe by themselves. The second large muscle which is breathing the lungs is diaphragm. We know what's diaphragm. Okay, it's a very big muscle. It's a plain muscle, but it's very big, like a dome. It's laying down on top of the stomach and balls, and what it does this. So it's breathing the lower portion of the lungs. This muscle is breathing the top portion of the lungs, mostly, and middle. The diaphragm breathing the lower portion of the lungs. So that's what we use, because we're interested in the lower portion.
I thought the lungs breathe themselves. Isn't that
The
so?
if you see the lungs taken off, they will collapse. They cannot do anything. They're like a very thin layer of bubbles, which cannot hold structure by themselves. They have no inside structure.
It's like a balloon.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
get the...
It's like a bunch of little balloons,
Yeah.
which can only be opened when there is a lower pressure on the outside.
Yeah, from
Then-
the chest
then
and
they
the diaphragm.
open. If you equalize the pressure, they collapse.
You see what actually happens? It's physical movement. Diaphragm goes up, so
Yeah.
it decreases the volume
Yeah, it decreases the volume
inside.
of the
Exactly. So
Exactly.
there is vacuum, and then it goes down.
Did I answer your question?
And the chest also increases the volume.
Yeah.
One more question.
Rolling eyeballs.
Yeah, rolling elbows up. This is a very important part of the technique. You know that this technique is present in many yoga techniques, rolling eyeballs up, and that's what you do. You roll them up and put them together until it's painful. And
Why
that's,
don't I have
that's
this one?
decreasing the breathing. Are the eyes open or closed, it doesn't matter, but that's what you do.
Do you understand? Just
Just
hold it up
Yes.
until it's painful, and that's good for us.
Yes.
That's good for
It's a
decreasing
good
breathing.
exercise.
When you're doing this technique, you have to try to keep your eyes higher than the normal level. Up.
Think
Because-
about you guys both do yoga. If you go into it a bit deeper, there are some poses where you have to concentrate, and the eyes movement is also the part of the pose. So usually you send the eyes towards the middle of the eyebrows, right? And you notice that when you are in such a pose, in kind of hard pose, you breathe like, and here, when you roll your eyes towards the middle of the eyebrows, and this is when your rapid breathing decreases. So it's not only the spiritual parts of yoga, because in here people try to bring a lot of spirituality, it's also the physical movements.
Yeah.
It's not widely circulating knowledge, but himself, Dr. Buteyko, was a black belt in karate. And he practiced a lot of the winter swimming, and he practiced a lot of the rolling in the snow and walking on the snow. We did all that, and this is all things which is helping. So, okay. So if there is no more questions to these two parts, to the one I give you out. So next we're going to do practically the exercise. We're going to actually practice the Siberian quiet Qigong as it should be practiced, introductory kind of simple setup. We will do it for about 5-10 minutes, and then we go into the break, and then later on we will do the practical seminar on the same topic, but it will approach it from very different perspective. This is all big theory, right? And it's needed, because if you do not understand that, you would not be able to practice. But now you have your understanding that something happened there which screwed up the knowledge. Okay? So the technique itself is very simple. It's simple to the extent that it's hard to believe. So do not be dismayed or discouraged by that simplicity, because that simplicity was a result of about 15 or 20 years of trials, when everything which is not needed was sorted out, and the core which is needed was brought in. So it's really very simple, but it's giving you a profound change if you practice it correctly, which we will discuss in the practical seminar. Okay? So the technique is such. Usually it can be done sitting. This also can be done laying down, or can be done standing. It doesn't matter, but the classical position is sitting like that, with the hands in this position, eyes up, whole body is relaxed but straight. So you can relax like this, for example, right? Or you can relax body in this position. So you have to be straight, the spine is straight, body relaxed, eyes up, then mouth is closed, but there is a little gap between the teeth. That means that your jaws is not tense. That means that everything is relaxed. And what you do, you just breathe normally and sit like that normally and breathe normally in the beginning, and just watch your breathing. Now, in several cycles of the breathing past, what you do, in the end of inhaling, you do little cut off, about 5-7% of natural inhaling, you stop it a little bit before it's supposed to happen naturally. So you by yourself stop inhaling in the very end, a little bit earlier, only 5-7%, no more than that. Tiny little bit in the very end. You stop it before it would be stopped normally, as it would stop physiologically. Right? So that's what you do. You cut it a little. So you underbreathe. Right? Try to keep your eyes up and rolled. And generally speaking, you quiet down your breathing. You make it the way that it go all the way down into the stomach, but the movement of the stomach would be invisible. The breathing had to be quiet to the extent that there would be no any movement in the body at all when you're breathing. That's why it's called quiet Siberian Qigong, right? Now you're relaxing all the muscles of the body by bringing your attention like a scanner from the top to the bottom, going with your attention and looking whatever is tense, like facial muscles or muscles of the shoulders usually tense, wrists very often tense, stomach, back. So you go several times like with your attention like a scanner and relax. If you study any relaxation techniques in your life, that's a good time to use it. If you studied any prayer or chanting or meditation techniques, that's also time to use it because it's very similar, it's the same. But it has some different implications on breathing. Now when you little bit quieted down your breathing already, what you do to that little cut off in the inhaling, which making it a bit shorter, right? You adding up a little bit waiting time between inhaling and exhaling. So you're making a little pause. And all breathing is stopped this breathing to the children, and he developed that way of explaining it to the children. It had to be simplified, right, for the children, very simple. So what he would say to the children, breathe like a mouse who saw the cat and want to hide, to be invisible. Also, please consider that this is a certain state. It's a certain state of all your being. It's not just the breathing. It's a very relaxed and comfortable state. And when you once got into it, then second time you will just got into it by remembering how it is, the feeling of that state. So it is not just about breathing. It is about all of you. If you have disturbing thoughts, they will prevent you from immediate going into that state. You need to sort them out and go through them a couple of times until they quiet down. If you had feelings or emotions which are overwhelming you, you would not be able to quiet your breathing until you would quiet down those feelings or emotions. On the other side, if you practice the quieting down of breathing, that would help to deal with emotions, because they will lose relevance for you. They will be not that important for you after the breathing exercise. So if you do it properly by now, you would feel a little warming up in the cheeks area, warming up in the core of the body, and generally a wave of relaxation going through the body.
Can I ask you a question?
This is very important to understand, and I feel that when these areas like cheeks and the face and the core of the body, stomach and here get warmed up, that means that you practice it properly. And the next stage, if you do it like this for the next 2-5 minutes, you will have this first shortage, until the slight shortage of breathing. You have to experience the slight shortage of breathing. This is the purpose of exercise, to experience slight shortage of breathing. So if you do it properly and continue, the first big gulp would come. And you do it as we discussed, you choke it. If you were unable to choke it, then you do very, very slow exhaling if the fast inhaling came. Because they're rising the amount of carbon dioxide, sending the message to the